What's up, guys? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the overall markets. I'm going to break down why we're seeing this massive sell-off right now and some big news that just came out involving Tesla. But just note that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $2,000, you're guaranteed a total of 30. The offer ends at the end of March. Anyways, now let's talk about the market. Tesla's currently down 3% in the pre-market. We're actually testing this 393 support. Looking at SPY, this is also down about 2%. The QQQ is down about 3.46%. What on earth is going on? Why is the market selling off like this? Well, we had some big news that came out. US stocks has had a very, very deep sell-off after surprise advancement from a Chinese AI company known as DeepSeek. They have threatened the aura of invincibility surrounding the US technological industry. So, DeepSeek is a 1 year old startup. It revealed a stunning capability and presented a chat GPT like AI model called R1, which has all the familiar abilities operating at a fraction of the cost of OpenAI's, Google's, or Meta's popular AI models. And the company said that it spent about $5.6 million training its newest AI models, compared with the hundreds of millions of dollars spent by US companies on their AI technologies. Now, this is something that's worth noting. If this is truly the case, that would be very, very impressive. And this is what's caused a big shift in the way the market is moving. Now, if you guys were watching my channel, you knew that I was expecting some kind of sell off. And this has more to do with, I would say, algorithms that knew that this was going to happen anyways. So they're finding a catalyst. They found their catalyst. They're going to use this as the catalyst, the excuse to start selling off before FOMC and factors like that. And it's no surprise, right? We knew that this was going to happen. I gave you guys a warning on Friday that the market was going to sell off, and lo and behold, we got this sell off. So this is basically threatening the dominance that the U.S. has in the AI sector. The fact that the U.S. is very, very far advanced as competitors, but in this case, there's other countries out there that could develop AIs just as well, and that is leading to a lot of questions amongst investors. We saw semiconductors down about 8%, such as like Nvda, and this is what's leading to this market-wide sell-off, and that's having a big effect on Tesla as well. Now, something interesting is going on. Starting today, I noticed that a lot of these headlines are saying that investors are hoping on a cheaper EV model to boost sales after a lackluster 2024. I'm not sure if Tesla's going to do that because, Tesla seems to be more convicted on the robotaxi. So we'll see about that, but that's something that's worth noting. So this is now adding to more expectations for Tesla's earnings. Can we see Tesla get a new cheaper EV or not? I'm not sure if we're going to get it. Like I said before, Tesla is currently just focused on getting that robotaxi out, and they may just prioritize that instead. So I hope that this does not lead to big expectations amongst investors that end up not being met. We'll see about that. Also, had Gary Black come out. He basically said that looking at the new policy shifts under Trump's administration, FSD and delivery concerns, he mentioned that Tesla could drop over 13%. He gave a nice analysis. I actually have the tweets like right over here, where he brought up the fact that Tesla's deliveries were a little bit lackluster for 2024, and if deliveries growth is not the strongest for 2025, which is something that he's talking about, he's a little bit concerned about that, right? He did suggest that Tesla should try to develop a cheaper model, which I'm not 100% sure about. And he mentioned the loss of their tax credits could be very negative for them, not to mention the effects that tariffs will have on them. So he mentioned that Tesla could fall back into the $350 to $375 range, regardless of what anyone says about autonomy. So yeah, long term, we're bullish, but he was saying for the short term, with these new catalysts coming out, from potential new tariffs to potential lackluster sales, as there's still some threats of that, he believes there could be a sell-off in Tesla. So, it's very important to look at different perspectives. There's lots of people who are very bullish on Tesla, think it's going to go to 550 by the end of the year. Other people thinking for the short term there might be a sell-off. So it's very much just worth considering what they have to say. Today is Monday. At 10 a.m., we have some new homes data and then some bill auctions. Nothing too significant. I don't think this is going to affect the market much. Right now, the market's more focused on the news. And then, real quick, we had Sofi announcing earnings, a little bit lackluster. We saw their EPS at the midpoint, a little bit below what we were expecting compared to their consensus. And then also their net revenue is still, I would say, pretty good, if anything like that. When it comes to their 2025 guidance, it was like it was so kind of like in the middle, but there wasn't really anything that impressed investors. That's why the share price went down just a bit. So I want to make that very clear. That's why the share price is down. Um, they also mentioned that their guidance was in some ways not as strong as what investors were looking at. That's why the share price is down. Anyways, looking at this, when it comes to their AI news that's come out, right? We have deep problem from DeepSeek. You can see that this is affecting a lot of big tech stocks, and the tech stocks are selling off so far. Don't forget that later on for the week we have big tech earnings, but for now we're just going to focus on this news. Anyways, that's it for the news. Let's focus on the charts. Okay, what's going to happen from this point on? All right, so we dumped really hard. Tesla went all the way down to 380 a share. I was talking about how there would be like a buying opportunity likely coming. There's a big gap to fill up here. So if we could try to get back above like 400, I do think we're going to fill this gap back up. But if we can't reclaim 400, there's going to be a risk of us coming back down. So what do I mean by that? There will be some kind of an attempt to push like this, and then we'll see if we get another rejection. If we can't get back above 400, I think Tesla may continue to dip a little bit more back down towards like that 390 area or below. Our main support right now is at 383. That's what's holding Tesla up, our 200 EMA. So we got to hold that. So watch that very, very closely. But the bullish case is if we manage to hold above 400, I do think we're going to fill this gap back up to like 40. We're going to get closer to like 407, 408, back up to where these EMAs happen to be. So in the open, look for an attempt to rebound closer to 400, and we'll see if Tesla rejects or not. There's been a lot of selling, so it's a little tricky to see if Tesla will truly fill this gap. We might attempt to do that. And we could get a rejection, so be careful because there could be more selling pressure in this market. Okay, so like I said before, look for a rebound in the morning, and then we'll see if we get some kind of rejection off 400 or not. If we hold 400, we're going to look for a nice recovery move. If not, we could be looking for another rejection back down to the low 390s or even below that. So keep that in mind. How about for SPY? We have a massive gap that formed. We're rejecting right here. So not looking too good right now. The question is, can we reclaim 598-ish? If we reclaim 598-ish, we could slowly try to get back up to about 602. If we can't hold above 598, if we come short, if we hit like 597 reject, there's going to be a risk of this continuing to fall to like 593 or even below that to continue to fall lower. So just be careful, guys. We actually came all the way down to fill that gap. So I think that, and that's my personal view, that, SPY of all things will attempt to rebound to about 597, and we'll see if we get a big rejection to continue to fall, or if we get a rebound back up if we manage to hold above that. So get back above 598, SPY could be pushed for 602. If we can't hold above 597, we're going to be looking for a move back down. Look for a small rebound when we open and see if we get a rejection or not. There's been a lot of selling, so be careful. There's going to be a risk of more selling if we do get that rejection. I think there's a lot of fear right now. I think the triple Q could attempt to get back up to about 514. We've got to reclaim like 518-ish. If we get back up at 518, we're looking for 521 and 524 as our targets. If we hit around 518 and we come short, we could be pushing to like 514 or so. If we reject, we could be looking for a dump back down to like 508. So in my opinion, I think that this is going to continue to reject if anything like that. We'll see about if we could try to get a bounce and reclaim our 200 EMA or not. If we can't reclaim this, we're going to continue to ride this trend line down, back down to look the low 500s. So be careful, guys. Look for a rebound upon open, a retest of 514. We got to reclaim 518. If we can't reclaim that, look for a push and rejection right back down. The Russell is coming down here. We're barely holding 225 as our support. Same thing. We're going to likely be retesting 227. If we can't hold above that to fill that gap, we'll be looking for a move right back down. I'm going to be a little quicker for the rest of these. We have the same thing going on in ES. We're trying to hold this support right over here. You guys can see it. I think it's going to retest 60.25 to 60.50. Then we'll see if we get a rejection, start tipping to like the 59.50s. So look for a push and a rejection as a potential move here. For NQ is rejecting right over here. We could attempt to push back up to about the 21,200 area. We'll see if we get a rejection or not. I think we could be pushing into the 21,000s, and then we'll see if we get a rejection. If this thing ends up losing 20,800, we dump a lot more. And if we could reclaim at least 21,500, we could attempt a rebound. I think the QQQs are weaker, so this might attempt a move like this. And if we can't get back above this imbalance at 21,400, then I could be looking for a continuation lower for us to slowly downtrend like this. So you want to be very, very careful with this. So I'm still seeing a weakness. Bitcoin has been selling off a bit. It's still kind of lackluster right here, especially because of this head and shoulders that formed. If we don't hold above 99,000, we could be dipping to about the 96,000 area. Now, looking at Nvidia, this is selling off quite a bit. We'll see if Nvidia can get back above 130. I would like to see that. If it can't do that, there's going to be a risk of it continuing to fall towards like the 120 zone, and this could drag the QQQ down lower. So look for an attempt to rebound here, a retest of like just under 130. We got to get back above at least 133 or so to rebound. If we come short, this could continue to reject and start dipping to the lower 120s. So there's no guarantee the move is done yet, and this could fall even more. So that's a little bit bearish. On the other hand, Aapl has been trying to base at 220. I've been saying that in my video since yesterday. If we get back above 224.7, we could be pushing higher. Otherwise, we're range bound between 220 and 224. I would like to see it reclaim 224.7 to start bouncing. Otherwise, it's just completely stuck. For a few more, Coinbase, I think we might be retesting 292. If that breaks, we're looking for that gap fill back up to 297. If we can't break 292, we could be dipping back down to 283 or below, so keep that in mind. I think we're going to do something like this where we retest our 20 EMA resistance at 292. If we get a rejection, we dip back down towards like the 280s. But if we break past it, we could try to fill the gap and get back up to 300. My gut tells me it might be doing something like this for a rejection. Amazon, a little bit lackluster. We could attempt to retest 227. If we can't hold that, we could continue to fall back down to 222. Still looks bearish. Meta got a big rejection. We have a big gap to fill. If we reclaim like 635, I'm going to be looking for an attempt to fill that gap to the 640s. If not, I'm favoring 620 and then eventually 609 is our targets if we can't get some kind of bounce. Looking at Microsoft, looks a little bit weak here. If we can't get back above 429, we could continue to fall back down to about 418. And then Google, you want to see it reclaim at least 197. Otherwise, we could continue to fall back down to about 192, then eventually 188. So keep that in mind. Anyways, guys, that is it for my video. I want to thank you all so much for listening. As far as Tesla goes, there's going to be an attempt to rebound just in the morning. And then we'll see if we can try to fill this gap or not, because we might come a little bit short if we can't hold above 400. If we come short, Tesla may push and then reject here. So please be very careful. With that being said, I thank you all so much for listening. Please have a good rest of your day and peace out.